we have some listeners here that are probably afraid to start their own podcast. And I think you've given a lot of good advice of like, you just got to get out there and do it. But, I love that you're a non-techie, as I consider myself a non-techie. So if we've got some listeners that are thinking of starting their own podcast, now that you've launched your second, one very successful and one new podcast on your own, what are 5 easy to use tools that any non-techie like myself, Emma doesn't count because she's great with technology.
I'm better than the average real estate agent, which doesn't count.
And I am below the average real estate agent.
That doesn't say a lot. We're not a good data point.
So 5 tools that are easy to use that can help them launch their own podcast if any of our listeners want to launch their own podcast.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of tech tools, I would start with Zoom. I would do exactly what or you're using StreamYard, but Zoom or StreamYard, both. Yeah. StreamYard has, you can make it more customized, but for the guys just starting out, like use Zoom, use the free account, I think you have to keep your recording under 30 minutes or 45 minutes
40,
if you use the free
40.
account.
It's 40.
40 minutes. See, I don't even know these things anymore. Under 40 minutes. Look, I'm cheap at heart. So I like all the free things. Like use the free things until you outgrow the free thing, right? People will say, well, Laura, I need all the equipment. I'm like, no, you need a computer, which you already have. You need, maybe if you want a better webcam, but look, I'm not using a webcam today. I have my earbuds. That's my microphone, right? So that's where you start. You start with Zoom and you bring on a guest, just like you guys are doing here today. And just like I always do with my podcast, I bring on a guest so I don't have to do all the heavy lifting. I don't actually have to know dick all about real estate. I just need to bring on someone, ask them a bunch of questions, have a conversation, and we're done. The great thing about Zoom is it gives you 2 different files. So it gives you an audio file, and that you upload to Libsyn, Libsyn. That's what we use. And that, guys, publishes your podcast to all podcasting platforms. That we'll put it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere. So Libsyn is a great source. The one other thing you want to do with your audio recording is put it in a software called Trint, Trint. And what that's going to do is that's going to transcribe your audio. So it's essentially, I actually have one right here. It's going to give you multiple pages of speaker and the time codes and everything that was said. And what I do, let me see if I have a better one here for you guys, one that I've done. What I do is I actually read through these things, and that's where I find all my little clips. So I'll go through and I'll say, okay, clip this piece right here. Oh, there. Clip this piece. So I'm going to give this to my team. And when it's you guys, you might not have a team. But these are the parts, the time codes I want to clip. Or these are the parts that I want to copy and paste and post that on Facebook or post that on LinkedIn as like a quote. Or maybe I can write a blog from this, and the blog can be my interview with Ryan and Emma. And I can just take out the ums and the ahs and make a blog out of it and put that on my website or send it to my database. I think what people don't do enough of when they start a podcast is actually send it to the database. I'm like, they're like, well, Laura, I only got 3 views and it took so much time. And I'm like, but did you tell anybody? Like, people are not going to just organically find you on YouTube or Spotify. You have to tell people about it, right? So it's important to send the podcast out. In terms of clips, like you can use places like Fiverr, virtual assistants to help you with that. Like, I wouldn't even attempt personally to clip these things on my own because the amount of time it would take me to learn how to do that. Like, maybe if you know how to use, what is it, Adobe Pro? I don't even know the programs, guys. Like, I just get other people to do the shit for me. So it frees up my time to do the thing that brings in the big dollars, which is sell real estate. Yeah, you might spend $1,000 over here, but you're going to make $26,000 over here. So it's an investment in your business. So Trint, Libsyn, and Zoom is really where I would start. And like I said, not with all the fancy equipment. And then my tidbits would be do what I call macro to micro, right? So that's taking the transcription, seeing other ways. So don't just let your podcast go to waste. Don't let it just be a podcast. Let it be the basis for all of your social media content going forward. Written images you can do too, right? You can get someone from Fiverr to create an image and put a quote over it. And the quote you can get from your transcription. You can just copy and paste and put that in LinkedIn. And like I said, make a blog. So those would really be kind of my tips around it.
Check out our YouTube or Spotify channel and don't forget to subscribe.